Hello, and welcome back to the TMG Fireside Chat. I'm your host, John Mackey. I'm also the founder and CEO of the Mackey Group. Today, we're diving deep into the future of fire protection. I'm joined by a longtime friend, industry leader and innovator, and fellow podcast host, Drew Slocum, Chief Strategy Officer and co-founder of InspectPoint. In this series, Drew and I tackle the real issues shaping our industry: mergers and acquisitions, technology, the innovation gap among manufacturers, workforce challenges, and how AI is already changing the way we work. We've broken down our conversations into short, focused episodes so you can catch the insights that matter most and put them to work. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoy the conversation. So let's jump right into it. But, and then Tyco came out with the connected sprinkler head, whatever that meant.
I don't whatever they're trying to do, which hasn't really mattered.
Right.
I like what Potter's trying to do, because they do have the fire alarm side and they got their sprinkler side, and they're trying to think outside. But I don't know. I think there's ripe for a potential startup to come in and as an OEM to do some of this stuff. And if they know the landscape, somebody could potentially do it.
No, you're right. I agree.
At least on the digital side and that recurring revenue model, which matters. Right.
Right. It'll be interesting to see what happens, right? Again, the deck chairs are moving around. I think you see smaller, family-run businesses. Look at Reliable. I know they were sold last year, but what Reliable was able to build, the team they have, a lot of former colleagues that we worked with, nice product. And they're on, they came out with that sprinkler head specific to lithium ion
Yep.
battery manufacturing and in-rack sprinklers, right? So,
Yep.
okay, they solved for one of them. All right,
Yep.
now what's next?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
They threw something out there and nobody really had anything. And yeah, it's not going to solve all of the lithium ion battery stuff, but it's something out there, right?
Right.
And are they going to get their ROI on it? I hope they do. Because those are the kind of ideas back, again, when I was at Tyco and Viking, and it was like, you can't, I know you need return on your innovation investment, but it just, I don't know. I think they can think outside of the box, which, you know, more than they do now.
Agree. Yeah. And I think, again, they've got to get back in front of the owners, the end
Yeah.
users.
Yep.
What do you need? And understanding what's coming with regard to the design of data centers and the design of the energy infrastructure. The things that we're chasing right now, the changing telecom, 5G, 6G, what's next?
Yep.
Right. And, being that far upstream, to be able to understand and influence it versus
Right.
react. Because I think right now as an industry, we're in reactive mode because we've got solutions that have been around for 10 years and we don't have anything new.
Yeah. Nothing new. I knew when we started the company that I'd be getting knocks on the doors at some point of like manufacturers saying, "Hey, how is our equipment doing in the field?"
Yeah.
Right? And it was just mind-boggling that they didn't really know or have the data to back it up, or even know where their stuff's being sold to. So it's kind of wild that a lot of
Remember,
the
remember the Omega recall back in the day we had to work on?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we'd know where all the Omegas were if that were happening
Right.
again. But
Right.
yeah.
So, but I think to your point, so aside from manufacturers, one of the things that you posted about was the code cycle and how long the code cycle takes to go through. And I
Hmm.
think in your conversation with them, they said 7 to 10 years was the normal cycle, right? As things kind of flush through, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'm not asking that question specific to the code cycle, but I am bringing it up from the perspective of innovation as it relates to products,
Hmm.
the evolution around where service fits in that, and the ability to track or make parts smart. But the other issue that we have is a code like NFPA 915, which you and I talked about over the last previous few years to say, wow, this could be a game changer. Could be,
Could
right?
be.
And what
Yeah.
we're seeing today is that the adoption rate is really, really, really slow.
Yep. Yeah, it's really slow because that that code is it's set up pretty well right
Yeah.
now. It's just thing is it's got to be adopted by an AHJ. And
Yeah.
if the AHJs don't know about it, then and if I guess it will be brought into the new state fire codes or whatever as they're adopted. Um, but it is a tool, and again, it's a tool for the HJ, and it's kind of sitting there at this point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was talking to Terry Victor last year at AFSA's conference where he was speaking about the adoption rate of 915. As you know, he was one of the leaders of that committee, right?
yeah,
And Terry said, he said, the challenge is that you have an AHA community that was so rigid on black and white. Well, the code says this and we have to do this, right? And then 915 comes out and they give them options.
yeah.
And these folks are not wired to make choices. It's black or
Well,
white, it pass or fail, and they don't want to work in the gray.
well, it's also like they would have to create their own kind of um how they adopt
Yeah.
915. That so there's some work to do there.
Yeah.
And if there's nothing for the HJs already burned enough and they don't have the labor, on the fire protection technician side, we don't have the labor, and definitely with the fire official side, there's a big lack there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So interesting. The next piece that spins out of that, and you've made references to this and other things that you talked about, but it's the role of data in the systems that we have out there today, right? We're going to
Hmm.
work our way into the conversation here a little bit about your survey you did. But before we get to that, 5 years ago, there were codes that were being kicked around, NFPA 950 and 951, which was around one, the structure of data and how data
Hmm.
was to be reported, or at least, created. And then 951 was how it was going to be reported,
Right.
in and out. I have
Yep.
not heard any conversation of 950, 951 in a long time.
No, no, and that's more at the HJ level too,
Yeah.
right? And I don't, yeah, I haven't heard of it, right? You have, and a lot of that is some of the compliance data with Brycer's compliance engine
Yeah.
and some of the others. And we didn't bring up Brycer in the earlier chat, but they recently partnered up as well and went for an insane amount of money, which should power them up to right to really move the card forward with in helping out AHJs. I think it's definitely needed.
That's a wrap for this episode of the TMG Fireside Chat. I hope you're walking away with new ideas, new perspectives, and a little more fire to help drive the future of our industry forward. Be sure to check out the rest of the series with Drew Slocum. And if you like what you heard, make sure to follow, subscribe, like, share the TMG Fireside Chat with others who are also as passionate about fire protection and life safety as we are. Until next time, keep pushing, keep leading, and keep building this great industry. See you soon.